Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I have been meaning for quite a while now to do a 3-year, 50,000 mile ownership review of the 2019 Toyota 4Runner. And I've procrastinated, so now I'm at about 3.5 years and 55,000 miles. Anyway, for those who are visiting my channel for the first time and you kind of wonder about the 4Runner itself, I do have a build video here if you want to take a look at it. But a quick summary. It's a 2019 TRD Off-Road Premium. So it's got all the crawl controls and the mode terrain selects and the A-track and a rear locker. I also have a KDSS on the vehicle. It's designed to help with sway left and right. I also noticed that it seems to also help with the nosedive that the 4Runner is noted for, though it's not necessarily designed for that. And because of that, I'm limited to about 3-inch lift with the KDSS, and so and I wanted the KDSS. That's one of the reasons I didn't do the Pro. And the Pro only comes with a 2-inch lift. I wanted to do 3, so I've got a 3-inch Bilstein lift on it. I've got a 1-inch diff drop. I've also got a 1-inch spacer puck in the front, so that the front suspension is only set at about a 2-inch. That way I can get a better rake on it and I can get good alignments and things like that. And I've got Old Man Emu springs on the back. So with that, that's just a kind of down and quick and dirty. Some of the other modifications that I've done in the meantime, I've got a set of RSG rock sliders on her. I've got a Gobi rack. You can maybe see a little bit of it up through my sunroof there. I've got a Gobi rack, a stealth rack on it with a ladder. The struts and the rear hatch have been beefed up for the extra weight of the ladder. Up top I've got a V70 Pelican case with my recovery gear up there in it. I've got a 4.5 gallon roto pack for fuel. Let's see. I've got a set of Max Tracks mounted, and I've got a new ARB awning. Now I haven't done a review on the ARB awning yet. That's going to be coming. And I've got a kind of an overview of the Gobi rack if you want to check it out. In the future I plan on doing a full review. I'm coming up on let's see, coming up on this summer will be a year, so I'll probably do a year review on that. So how has the 4Runner been doing? I've only had scheduled maintenance done on her. I have had a recall for a fuel pump. I never had any problems with the fuel pump, but it was recalled. I think felt like my throttle responsiveness, and it makes no sense that I have anything to do with it because the fuel pump just provides a constant pressure to the system. But I don't know, it seemed to me like I got it was a little bit less gutsy. I don't know. It's probably just psychological. So I've had a new fuel pump put on her. Of all the, I've done a video on my likes and my dislikes, and one of the dislikes that probably continues on that I may be a little bit disappointed with is the quality of the paint. I continue to get quite a few paint chips, and they're significant ones. They're just not little tiny ones. They're usually good chunks that get knocked off the paint. I've gone over it a few times and touched it up, but I'll show you just what one of them looks like. It seems to be pretty typical of the paint that chunks off of it. Let's see, what else? I just discovered the other day, and I haven't had a chance to fix it yet. It looks like one of the KDSS boots, the binding on it, the little circular clamp, has come off, and it looks like it's just torn on the edge. And where it's at, it's kind of tucked up under my front skid plate. It doesn't look like anything. I've taken a couple of hits on the skid plate doing some off-roading, but not in the area where that boot is at, so I'm not quite sure why it's torn, or if I did it, but I'll have them take a look at it, see if it's something they can just put another band around, or if they're going to have to pull the boot off and replace it. Of course, today's world, with, you know, they probably want to pull it off and replace it so they can make more money off of it. But other than that, the soft text seats are doing really well. Comma, however, mine on the outer edge here, it's actually starting to rub down into fray, and that's probably my fault. With the lift, I kind of tend to scoop myself out, and this handle up here is not quite in the right position to use it when you get out, so I don't kind of slide out of the seat. If I were up just a little bit further up here, I think I would use it a little bit more than what I actually do. I don't know if you can see in the back or not, I've got some Rego Fab Molle panels back there, and I've got their shelf. I've done a video on the Molle panels, but I haven't done a review on the shelf yet. That was something I put in here at Christmas, and that I owe you a video on. But other than that, I've been pretty happy. The gas mileage has been going down on average, and that's because I'm putting more and more stuff on the outside. You know, the off-road tires are getting worn. I had 20,000 miles on some dirt tracks that came with the vehicle. They were 275s. Now we got 285s, 70R17s on. So those are 33-inch tires. So they're a little more aggressive. So with that, and now the Gobi rack and stuff up on the rack, I've got a lot more air resistance. And my gas mileage has been going down. I'm probably averaging, when I'm going to work back and forth, right around 18, sometimes 18.3. It seems to do better if I use a little bit of the non-ethanol gas. So I can pick some up now and then, and every now and then I'll run a couple of tanks of that through just to kind of clean out all the ethanol, and my gas mileage goes up a little bit. When I'm in the mountains like I am now, I'm currently central Colorado, heading between Denver, going into Durango. I'm going down on 285, kind of through the mountains, going to go over Kenosha Pass, down towards the Twin Lakes area, and then eventually I'll work my way down to Wolf Creek Pass into Pagosa Springs, and then I'll head over to Denver, over to Durango. When I'm in the mountains like this, I do like to run premium. You're supposed to run at least a minimum of 87. And I guess here in the mountains, 85 is equivalent to 87 out in the flatlands. But I tend to like to run the premium. I think there's YouTubers will tell you you're just wasting your money, and I'm sure there's people that are going to comment saying you're wasting your money. But it seems like when I'm up in the mountains, I get better gas mileage and a little more horsepower and performance off of premium. Let's see. It's done really great in the snow. I've had her off-road. Let's see. A couple of I don't know. I've been down towards Uray. I've done some more milder trails. I would say I'm not an experienced off-roader. Excuse me. So I'm not. I've done a couple of moderate trails out here, and I've done 2 red trails. One in my vehicle following somebody, and then just in a Jeep with somebody. And I did a trail in this rig. It was called the T33 trail. It's a crash site right outside of kind of up near Nederland, kind of up, I must say northwest of Boulder. Anyway, it's rated as a very aggressive trail. Recommends 37-inch tires, and so the guy I was with had 37s, mine are 33s. She did really well going up. I used A-Track. I got in a situation twice where the kind of rock that I had come up to was such that it was almost just it was not letting me go forward, and I was starting to dig into the sand. So immediately I stopped, took the A-Track off, put my locker on, crawled right out, took the locker off, put my A-Track back on. I did that again on the way up. So just twice on the trail that I need to use my rear locker. I ended up with most of my rash coming down, because as you come down, gravity's also working against you and your suspension, and you tend to get a little more suspension stroke coming down. And I touched my right slider twice. A little protrusion of a rock sticking out of the trail kind of caught my rim, and I put a little scuff on it. Had a little crease down my, not a crease, but just a scuff down my gas tank skid plate. And that was mostly because there was a Hummer that had broke off his front hub off his axle, and he was trying to limp down the trail. He had taken his tailgate off and had strapped it with some cogger straps under the front yoke, and he was trying to skid himself down this trail. And he was in a situation where, for us to get by him, we had to go up on about a 30-degree slope with rocks, and the Jeep did great ahead of me, but I kind of did some scraping on the underside just a little bit. So, and I was not paying attention, and I ran into an obstacle with my front skid plate. So, all in all, I have not up-armored the bottom. If I'm going to do anything aggressive like I did on that trail, I definitely would need more armor. It didn't seem to want to. It's what's there is good for some mild off-road stuff, but the more aggressive boulders, I definitely need to get armor. I don't tend to do those kind of trails though, because I tend to do a lot of solo stuff, and so I kind of tend to keep myself more in the go out past the Subarus and find a good place to camp. But she's done really, really well. One of the things I noticed about her, one of the complaints about the 4Runner is it's under about 278 horsepower and about that many foot-pounds of torque. It's got just a 5-speed transmission, but the way it's set up, it may not be great for gas mileage, but off-road, it's just like a little goat. She just likes to climb and dig in and go. Very, very seldom do I ever have to get in kind of a lot of wheel spin going to get over something. It's just because it just lets you, because the throttle isn't responsive, you can very easily, I guess, apply the power in a way that keeps you in control of what you're doing. I've only played with my crawl control and my mode train select. I've never actually had to use it to get out of trouble anywhere. I did use it once on a very, 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 very steep downslope, where being down in the lower gearbox in first gear was not going to keep me from losing control and locking up and sliding down this thing, because it was very, very gravelly and like pea gravel, almost like being on marbles. And I did put it I put the mode select on and chose the speed as low, and the ABS just chattered all the way down, but it was like a hill descent control, and it kept me from locking up and starting to skid down this thing. So I guess in the sense that yes, I've used it once, so I stand corrected. Other than that, she's performing really, really well. Everything seems to be wearing really well. It's nothing have to do with the 4Runner, but I did swap out at 20,000 miles. I put a pair of Falcon Wild Peaks, the AT3s. They're the 3-peak rating tires. I love these tires. I wish I could get them on my other vehicle, but they don't make the size that I need. But these things, they have worn really well. I've not had enough. I've had BF Goodrich before. They tend to have, I never could keep them in balance, and they would cup all the time. Same thing with some Goodyear Wranglers that I had, was just terrible cupping issues. So I've got 35,000 miles on these Wild Peaks. They easily have another 20 on them, it seems. There's a lot of tread left on them. I'll show you a picture here of the tread. This is a 35,000. And a lot of grip off-road. Wearing really well. I have never had to have any of them rebalanced. Well, I meant to do this in one take, but that's not how Mother Nature planned it here. As I climb up Kenosha Pass, Anyway, I think we were talking about the tires, and yeah, the Wild Peak AT3s. Really happy with them. They've got great grip off road, like I was saying. They've done really well in the snow. They're wearing super well, and yeah, I can't say anything bad about them at all. They've stayed in balance. Never had to rebalance them. There's no cupping going on at all with them. They seem to have a really good grip. Now, at 35,000 miles, I notice a little bit of road noise from them, especially up on the interstate. You know, and you add that to a little bit of rack noise with the Gobi rack up top. The car's not as quiet as it was when I first bought it. But would I buy a 4Runner again? Absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing what Toyo's going to do, maybe with the 23, perhaps 24 season. I think they originally the 6th gen 4Runner was supposed to come out with the Sequoia, but you know, they released the Sequoia and didn't release a new 4Runner. COVID probably has something to do with that. Put a lot of the R&D down, you know, behind. So see that with a lot of some of the products where I work now. COVID has its impact on the R&D and the product releases and the product updates and things like that. But all right, well, that's my summary of my ownership so far on the 4Runner. I would absolutely buy it again. Like I said, I'm looking forward to what happens with the next generation and see if it's something I want to do, or do I want to go ahead and stay with something that's tried and true and see if I can get this girl to get to 400,000 or 500,000 miles before she needs some engine work done on her. So I think that'll be a fun test to see. Anyway, you all have a good day. Thanks for watching. If you want to like and subscribe, that kind of helps the algorithms out a little bit. Other than that, until next time, bye everybody.